What's up, Ram fans? Welcome back from the break. I'm your sports anchor, Jayson Ortiz, and I'm here to break down all the action in CSU athletics. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The Colorado State women's golf team wrapped up the Las Vegas Collegiate Showdown, carding a 2-over par on day 3, and finished the whole tournament at 2 over. CSU was led by Ellen Secor, who recorded a 3-under par today and finished with an overall 3-under par. Also, Katrina Prendergast, who led for the Rams all week, but struggled on the course shooting 2 over 74 today, dropping from 8th all the way to 18th. CSU finished in 8th as a team. Recently, we hit the plaza to test CSU students' knowledge of CSU athletics.
Can you name any CSU football players?
Nick Stevens, I don't know.
Quarterbacks like Carter Samuels or something.
Malcolm and Nico.
Taiwan and Nico.
I know he's on last year. His last name was Gallup or something.
I know we had Michael Gallup last year.
Do you know who the women's volleyball head coach is?
Do you know the head coach of the volleyball team?
No.
Have you been to a volleyball game?
Freshman year.
Yeah, freshman year.
What year are you now?
Junior.
Can you name one player?
Oh, Bree.
Bree who?
I don't know Bree's last name. I just know Bree.
Can you name another player?
Jessica.
Jessica who?
I don't know Jessica last name.
Maddie Fouts, Kirsty Hillier.
So do you know who the new men's basketball coach is?
No.
Can you name any men's basketball players?
We have Jeremiah Page, and then the big guy, Nico, and then one guy's last name is Bonner, and that's all I know.
Do you know who the head basketball coach is?
I do not.
I don't know anything about CSU basketball.
I know that he coached for Drake, I think.
Yeah, Nico.
Nico who?
I don't know.
After talking to them, I think we need to get more students to some sporting events. Yikes. After a tough loss to Boise, CSU looks to bounce back, and as we all know, this Friday is the border war. It's the 110th meeting overall between CSU and Wyoming. CSU leads the series 58-46 with 5 ties as well. Looking at how the teams stack up against each other this year, CSU and Wyoming, CSU has almost double the amount of receiving yards that Wyoming has, but the rushing attack this year, net yards wise, CSU lacks. Touchdowns almost doubled again, and that comes on receiving because they have 20 receiving touchdowns, CSU does. Moving to the defensive side of the ball, 14 sacks on the defensive side for CSU, 12 for Wyoming. 6 turnovers, though, for CSU, and obviously 5 for Wyoming. The main thing here, though, is penalties. CSU has 63 penalties on the year, and they've racked up 507 yards in penalties, and that's been killing a lot of their drives this year. Wyoming, they have similar stats, so it looks like these teams are pretty even. Without the receiving yards, they look pretty even. Some pretty high expectations for this year's game, and now joining me, I have CTV football reporter Sydney Wicker, and we're going to talk a little bit about what to expect in this game. So what do you see going into this game, Sydney?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me, Jason. But it's going to be a tough game for CSU. I feel like that's how they've been all year a little bit. You never know what to expect from this CSU football team. Wyoming really has had some tough games these past couple weeks, though. I know they played Utah State where they only lost 24-16, which is pretty good because Utah State's probably one of the best teams in the Mountain West this year. So it'll be really interesting to see how CSU comes out and play. But I feel like from this CSU football team so far this year, you never know what's going to come out on the field. We always are having quarterback switches. We're always having some kind of different mindset on the team. I think that comes a lot from Coach Bobo this year. So we'll have to see what team really decides to come out and play this year. Coach Bobo did announce yesterday that Colin Hill will be starting as quarterback for Wyoming. They're going to have a different quarterback starting this week as well. Their normal quarterback, Sean Chambers, who averaged 62 yards in the last game, won't be starting. They're going to have Zach Watts, who's a freshman, actually from Colorado, who will be suiting up for this first game. So it'll be interesting to see how both of these fresh quarterbacks kind of start the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Colin Hill at quarterback because he had a good fourth quarter against Boise. But that's not, you don't know if did Boise have all their starters in? We don't know. However, I see if CSU gets the passing game going, they're hard to stop. When you have Olabisi Johnson, Preston Williams, and Warren Jackson all on the field at the same time, those are probably the best wide receivers in the Mountain West. And if they can get him the ball, it's going to look like it'll be an easy game for them.
Preston Williams, who is only a junior this year, can be dangerous when you get the ball in his hands. So he's really impressive to watch, and he's been really fun to watch this year. He's averaged 825 receiving yards this year, and he's also had 8 receiving touchdowns, which is awesome. But someone to look out for on Wyoming's side of the ball is their running back, Nico Evans. They've been huge on their running game this year, and Evans has averaged 803 running yards, so he's right behind Preston Williams in the receiving aspect there. So it'll be really interesting to see how those two kind of match up on this field. But I think it's going to be a close game. And if CSU doesn't pull off a win here, they're not looking at a bowl game, I don't think, for this season.
Yeah, even sitting right now, their chances of making a bowl game with having Utah State still on the schedule, Air Force, it's going to be tough to make a bowl game. A key contributor in this game has got to be CSU's defensive line. They got to step up. They got to shut down the run game for Wyoming. If Wyoming can't run the ball, then make them throw it, and that's where all CSU's main skill guys are at the defensive back position. Jordan Fogle, Jamal Hicks, some of the best guys that are on the team, and they never see the ball because the run defense hasn't been there.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the CSU defense comes out. I think it'll be a great test for Bobo and for this team as a whole this year. So we'll see how they do as a whole. But Jayson, aside from football news, the World Series is currently happening right now. I know you're a huge Dodgers fan.
Oh, a big Dodgers fan. I mean, right now it's 2-1, Red Sox.
All right.
But there's still a lot of game left,
Yeah.
and there's also a 7-game series, so they got in the bag. It's all right. No
We'll
worries.
see how it goes. I'm hoping the Red Sox win, just because you always give me crap about liking Michigan. So
I mean,
we'll see how they do.
Fair enough. All right, so you guys know what time it is. Top plays, man, give me that. So right here, we have Cole the T-Dog. And this came from his Twitter page. And it's T-Dog Cole, at T-Dog Cole. And it's just, he's a 3-sport athlete. Football, basketball, pretty sure it's volleyball. This dog is, for Boise State, it's amazing. Right here we have Warren Jackson, is in the 4th quarter. A little bit of garbage time touchdown, but it was still a good play done. Kaylee Lordman, what can you say? She just dropped a bomb from outside the 18-meter box and got it past the keeper. That was a big win for on senior day. So, I mean, I don't know what you say. That dog is probably the coolest dog I've ever seen.
I was in Boise last weekend for that game. I got to meet Cole myself. I got a picture with him, and he is by far one of the most talented dogs I've ever seen. And I have a dog of my own, and I was in love with this dog. So it was pretty cool.
Should have picked him up and brought him home with
I
you.
should have. He would have been great.
Probably has a lot of security on him, though.
He does. He actually has 2 little people that follow him around the whole game.
Man.
So
That's a cool dog.
it's pretty cool.
Well, that's it for me, Rams. Make sure you follow the CTV Twitter page to stay up to date on CSU sports throughout the week. But don't go anywhere. Justin has all your entertainment news up next.